Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pets Add Life. My name is Chris Bonifati, and joining me is one of the fine diners, the connoisseurs, one of the upper crust of the pet industry. It is Kristen Levine. Kristen, how are we doing today?
Fine diners? Where'd you get that from?
I don't know, man. I'm just thinking of stuff at this point.
I do like a fine dining experience, though.
Yeah,
you got me there.
Yeah.
You got me there.
Yeah.
It's hot outside. It is so hot.
And it is affecting my ability to think. It has gotten to the point where it is too hot to be good.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's jump into story time.
Yes.
And cool off a little bit.
Yeah, let's towel off with some stories.
Kristen and Chris present Story Time.
I'll go first today with my story. This is a close call story. So this is more like a PSA. Okay. Kind of a warning. I came across this story from the Pet Poison Control about a Labrador named Kaya. And what happened was Kaya got into her owner's medication for something. What was it? Powerful medication. Oh, multiple sclerosis. I can't say that without 2 cups of coffee.
Sclerosis.
Yeah. So that's not even funny. But so she got into this medication. She started to have seizures. They were freaking out. But fortunately, they were aware of the Pet Poison Control hotline. Mm-hmm. So they called them. They were told to go immediately to their veterinarian, and I think it was after hours, so they had to go to a Blue Pearl hospital, which had an emergency department. And what happens when you call, if you suspect your pet has ingested something toxic, when you call Poison Control, they work directly with your veterinarian to resolve the issue, because even the emergency vet, although they're used to emergencies and toxicities, they might not be, have experience with each specific potential toxicity your pet could have gotten into. So that's why it's really important that the toxicologist at the Pet Poison Control kind of collaborates with your veterinarian to set up the best protocol. So in this case, things worked out well. Kaya did rack up a pretty significant vet bill because she spent some time in the ER and intensive care, but she got IV fluids and medication to control, her tremors and vomiting. But the takeaways really are that time is very important when you suspect a toxicity. If your pet gets into a dangerous plant, a bag of chocolate, medication, you really don't have time to wait around and see. You really should contact your vet or Poison Control right away. And because even small amounts of a toxic substance can be deadly. So, and I remember I interviewed, and I know we've interviewed her too, Dr. Renee Schmidt, who works over at the Pet Poison Control. She was telling me that human medications are like in the top 3 most common calls they get. And so it's just, I think it's a good reminder. Thank goodness thank goodness Kaya is okay. But it's just a great reminder for us to keep things like that out of reach of not only our kids, but our pets as well. So
every dog is a toddler.
That's
the way you got to think about it. If
true.
you wouldn't keep that medication in that spot because you have a toddler, don't keep it there because you have a dog. It's a great rule of thumb. They see you eating something from that bottle every day. They think it's delicious. They will learn that bottle is valuable, and they will see it and they will go after it.
Well, and not only that, but even a child-proof medicine bottle, it might be child-proof, but if you have a Labrador,
it ain't dog-proof.
They're going to chew right through that.
They call it child-proof. It ain't dog-proof.
Right.
Little fun fact. Pretty much every child-proof thing is also Chris-proof. I'm terrible at them. Can't get anything open. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, no.
All right. My story is about the legalization of something everybody's doing, but nobody ever really got in trouble for. And no, I'm not talking about marijuana, folks. I'm talking about bodega cats in New York City.
Oh,
I didn't know, so it makes sense. Your most bodegas, and for those of you who don't know what a bodega is, it's like a New York hole-in-the-wall deli that's like part grocery store, part like hot food buffet, part grill, just sort of like serves their little tiny 1-block community for all the people going to work or walking to school and stuff. You could get yourself a breakfast or, a bag of chips or a cold drink on a hot day. They're great. And they always have the best sandwiches. Don't be afraid to go into a weird looking one. And part of the culture is they typically have cats. And that culture evolves from the cats being used to keep the mice out. There's rat problems everywhere in New York. But it's not allowed. You can't have a pet in a restaurant, like staying there, because it counts as a restaurant because they're making food fresh.
Right.
Well, it turns out that New York is now aiming to legalize. The headline is great. NYC aims to legalize bodega cats for real. For real this time. So council member Keith Powers has announced plans this week to introduce a bill that would legalize bodega cats. Despite their popularity, cats have been technically banned from stores that sell food, but that hasn't stopped them from becoming beloved neighborhood fixtures. And many New Yorkers say these cats are what make a bodega feel like home. So I just thought, like, me being a little New York guy over here, my favorite part of the bodega is the cat. I don't think it's complete without it. So very funny. New York is full of laws that exist that nobody follows and nobody enforces. So it's about time to strip this one away.
I know. I didn't know it was illegal to have a bodega cat because I've seen them in there.
Well, I don't think they ever meant to make it illegal. I think it was just part of like the food safety legislation that gets passed. And wow, it turns out bodegas count as this because they're making food, and nobody had the heart to actually enforce it. So it's time to give them the legal exemption.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
All right, still here live at Global Pet Expo and joined now by Brian McDonald, the director of e-commerce at Oma's Pride, a fourth-generation family-owned company specializing in all natural raw pet food. With a rich background in marketing and sales across diverse industries, Brian has been instrumental in driving significant growth at Oma's Pride, achieving a remarkable, trademark that, remarkable, 40% increase in just 10 months. His expertise encompasses crafting compelling brand stories, cultivating meaningful customer relationships, and implementing innovative marketing strategies. Beyond his professional endeavors, Brian operates the social media account Anything But a Salad. He also has his own podcast. He does recipes. He does comedy skits. He's a real Renaissance man, residing in fellow Connecticuter, fellow Cutter, with his wife and 3 children. Brian continues to blend his professional acumen with personal passions. Brian, thank you so much for hopping on the pod today.
What an intro.
I know, right? There's no time left.
I feel like there needs to be fire coming up.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Where's the budget for pyrotechnics?
Oh,
where's the budget for pyrotechnics?
Get some AI animation in here. No, that was great. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Very great to meet you guys.
Yeah, so let's knock it off the top. Let's address first the business.
Yep.
And that 40% growth in under a year.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. So
what's your secret?
I came along. So long story short, it's a 4th-generation family business,
Yeah.
right? So the 1950s, where the family was in human food. They own and operate on their own farm in Avon, Connecticut. And the human food line went up until the 1990s. And then from the 90s, the 2nd-generation owner noticed that, hey, something's about this raw pet food, right? So she had a very sick dog at the time, and next thing you know, she's like, we already have the human food, let's start feeding it. And that transformed into the raw pet food. So generation by generation came, and when I was in a separate industry, I met Adam, who's now the 4th generation owner. And at that time, he was trying to bring the family's values, brand, and product quality, and then add that to the 21st century, right? So that the family was still stuck in its ways in regards to being that family New England business. And we hit it off, connected, and he's like, hey, let's do this together. You help with the marketing and e-com side of it, and he handles the actual operational aspect of the pet food business. So we came in and really ripped it to the guts in regards to how it's marketed and operated.
Is that a pun, like a raw food pun? Ripped it to the guts?
No, it could be though. It could be. I'll
tell you this much: if I ate some of Oma's Pride,
so like literally to the core in regards to email campaigns, flows, product offerings, how we portray ourselves on social media. I'm a big social media guy. I believe in it heavily. So really the A to Z aspect of everything from the website to offerings to our email structure and campaigns, and then to the social media side of it. And sort of just the brand's always been there. We have one of, if not the best product, I believe, in the category. It was just a matter of amplifying it, and that's sort of I talk loud. That's my specialty, right? So there we go.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
You don't have to say something smart. You gotta say it real loud.
That's it. So that's what I love to do, and just getting that distribution out there, distribution of product, distribution of media. That's the most important element of any business.
Yeah.
If you have distribution, you hold the keys.
Yeah.
So
So Brian, for our pet parents that are listening, I would imagine a huge part of what you have to do is educate people, educate the consumer about raw.
Yes.
So talk us through how you're doing that.
Yeah. So believe it or not, I think like one of the best things that happened in my eyes for us and then the pet industry in general was the growth of the freshly, gently cooked category. Right.
Sure.
Before there was no bridge between kibble and raw.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get a consumer on that side over to raw. And the category that developed within freshly and gently cooked helps sort of bridge that gap a little bit, right? So all of the tens of billions of dollars that your farmers' dogs of the world are spending help us, because once they get over to there, it's a little bit easier to transition to us, right? So I think like educating that consumer, that's sort of our ICP, right? Someone that feeds either a high-end kibble or someone that's on freshly and gently cooked. And the educational component, once you have that, is a lot easier than attacking the wrong consumer.
Right.
Good
yeah.
point.
So educate me a bit.
Yep.
I'm a cat dad. My cat eats, just like the most basic canned food. She's an old lady and she's not changing her ways.
Yeah.
But what are the benefits to like an Oma's Pride diet? What's the basic pitch? What are you selling people?
Yeah,
on?
Absolutely. Right. So we actually had a really cool story about 2 weeks ago, and this sort of like encapsulates what we know our product to be true, to be able to do. Right. So one lady, very itchy cat, had like loose stools, irregular stools, right? Coat wasn't that great. And, she was really battling going back and forth between different canned options. Switched over to Oma's Pride and did that as a gradual method. So a lot of folks will incorporate a little bit, days 1, 2, and 3, add a little bit more, 4, 5, and 6, etc. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, she was like, I can't believe this looks like a brand new cat. Right, more energy, better stools, shinier, healthier coat, incredible teeth. So the entire animal health, or with the canines, it encapsulates the entire body inside and out, and the energy and then the coat, I would say, are the two big things that we get from pet parents in regards to this is what we've noticed like right away.
Yeah.
What are some of the misconceptions about raw feeding?
For sure. I think like the biggest one is like two things. It's very intimidating, the raw name, right? So a lot of people get very scared in regards to handling the food themselves.
Right.
So I believe that pet parents have a harder time coming to terms with handling it and serving it than they do giving it to their animals, right? So that's like a barrier that is a little tough to break down, which is why I mentioned the freshly, gently cooked stuff. But then once you get to the feeding portion of raw, it's your bacteria, your Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and we do a really good job at Oma's Pride. That comes first with us. We bacteriophage our food, so it's an all-natural kill step process. It only specifically targets Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria within the food. It's the same process that's actually used when you go to the grocery store and buy smoked salmon, for an example.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's used in human food. It's very safe. one of the, if not the safest. And that educational component in regards to getting pet parents to feel safe that their animals are going to be, healthy and not get sick. Yeah. That's a huge thing that we like to talk about a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to pivot for a second. Can we pivot?
Let's pivot.
Let's
do
pivot.
it.
You've got your other social media accounts. You've got your own podcast. And as somebody who also has like two distinct personalities, I find that sometimes some of the best stuff for work comes out when I let it bleed through. So what are the lessons you learned from running, comedy and cooking content, and bringing that over into community engagement with Oma's Pride?
Yes. I think we have an interesting crew at the office. And,
that always helps.
Very interesting crew. And the pet world, in my eyes, doesn't do a great job of having people sell to people. A lot of when we walk around the show, it's product selling to people.
Yeah.
And bringing the people at Oma's Pride as the forefront, standing next to the food, is very important for us. It's who we are, what we do. People fall in love with us and they fall in love with our food, or vice versa. So the big thing for us is like showcasing our personalities, who we are at the office. We have like a skit in TikTok that's like going super viral right now, where we compare ourselves to The Office, the TV show.
Okay.
So we do like an office thing on there, but we the big thing for us is getting out there every single day, whether it's on social media, email, etc., showcasing who we are along with our product. Because
you're the gym, aren't you?
What's that?
You're the gym, aren't you?
Yes. Some people say gym. Yes, people say gym. I get Michael sometimes. Just,
a little awkward.
But yeah, for the most part, the biggest thing is getting everyone at the brand sort of in front of the camera in a way. And when people think of Oma's Pride, they think of our food, but then they also think of Adam and Brian and Nina,
right.
And that's the biggest missing gap in pet.
That's really cool, because then it kind of takes the brand away. Not that you're trying to remove the brand, but people get to know the company through the people, as opposed to the messaging is always coming from the brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that always works really well, because you think about how influencers exist. Like, why do they exist? It's because you almost fall in love with their personality. It's like a cult of personality. So if you have these awesome people around your office, and it's something we're trying to do with Global Pet Expo a bit more, is get some of our people in front of the camera. Yeah. Because you take away this idea of like, you've got a nice logo there with Oma.
Yeah, there she is right there.
We've got like this Global Pet Expo thing going on. Yeah. So this is what people see and associate with us. But no, there's 25 hard workers with real lives, real stories, actual pets, trying to work together for the industry. And I think that is really how you could reach out and grab a hold of a strong base.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Can we pivot again?
Let's pivot again.
I want to pivot again because I got to sit in on a panel that you spoke on yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yes. And
awesome,
you were talking. I hope I'm getting this right. But didn't you say you guys had like a 1 pound sample size product offering? So which would be great for people who want to try raw feeding?
Yes, absolutely. So that was Rob runs he's our national sales director on the retail side of it. And he came to Adam and I and a couple folks, and this was probably, call it like 7-8 months ago. And he's like, hey, there's a huge missing gap in the raw pet sector and retail, where it's not only intimidating to try, but it's expensive to try.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Freshly and Gently does a great job because they have their 1 pound sleeves, $10, $12 price point. Right. A pet parent can try it. If they love it, they can come back, move up to the next volume and size. Well, that was missing in raw because you only had your 3 and 6 pound bags. So entry point was $50, $60 just to try raw, right? And it's like, not only am I intimidated, but now I got to give you $50 to try your chicken. So it's like, all right. So we're like, all right, well, let's just do 1 pounders, right? Yeah. So we sell them in 6 pound grab and go sleeves in our retail stores. Typical MSRP on those is like $10 to $12. Nice. So someone can grab their complete recipes. Yep. We have purr as well for the cats. Okay. And then we have our tripe and stuff like that. A bunch of single proteins, but the completes are chicken, turkey, lamb, beef. We got tripe. We have our purr, so pet parents can go in there, try that. Let me try a chicken and beef, see how I like it. Yeah. If they like it, they can move up to the bag. Yeah. If they like the bag, they can get a bulk box, right? So sort of that.
Is that like an idea you got because that, you're sort of listening to the consumer, listening to the customer when you there's always pushback, right? That's the point of selling.
For sure.
Is like you have a pitch and people push back and you make that adjustment. Are there any other ways you've adjusted either operations or your brand or your marketing based on just like what you hear back from your most faithful champions?
Yeah. I think on the retail and e-commerce side of it, so like that's one like example in retail. And when I look at pet, I look at there's really two ways to like sort of make your markets. You either create a brand new innovative product that doesn't exist,
sure,
or you create a different way that the product's sold. Because 99% of the people, it's just different coloring and packaging, right? It's all the same stuff.
Right.
So how do we take something that we know to be true and love and make it a different, easier way for folks to feed? So we did that in retail. On e-com, we offer some really cool bulk boxes that don't really exist in the e-com world in the sizes that we sell them. So we make it easier for parents that want to, order in bulk at home. We make it easier for people to try our food in retail. So all of those elements sort of encompass together.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, where can folks find Oma's Pride and where can they follow you on social?
Tell you what, so social media, Oma's Pride Pet Food or Oma's Pride on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You got to follow TikTok, right?
Got to follow TikTok.
Got to follow TikTok.
Got it. They almost banned it.
You got it.
They're going to take it away again.
My LinkedIn's a great follow. I'm the funniest guy on LinkedIn.
I believe that because there's nobody funny on LinkedIn.
No one's funny.
I'm not even funny on LinkedIn.
Just quick LinkedIn plug. Yeah. And then omaspride.com, right? Okay. Our direct to consumer. We also are available roughly now in a little over 1,100, 1,200 independent pet stores.
Awesome.
In the United States. We have a wholesale channel as well. So whether you're a breeder, whether you're, we still do like driveway drops. We'll drop off pallets of food. It's our legacy business. That's how Oma's Pride started.
We
have our
awesome.
direct to consumer business, and then we have our wholesale business. So our philosophy is we're not going to dictate where the customer wants to buy the food. We just want to be there where they want to buy it.
So whether you want a pound or a pallet.
Yes, pound or a pallet.
We got it.
Oma's Pride's got you covered.
Thank you so much. I know Global Pet Expo is a super busy whirlwind, so we appreciate you stopping by, taking the time. Oma's Pride is lucky to have you. We're lucky to have you on the podcast.
That's right.
Thank you, guys.
Have fun at the rest of Global, man.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, please join me in welcoming our first guest today, Susannah Charleson. She's a New York Times bestselling author, a pilot, a flight instructor, I'm not done yet, a service dog trainer, and a seasoned canine search and rescue handler, just an overall overachiever. Writing professionally since 1981, Susannah has created content across radio, TV, print, web, and even an AOL serial fiction. As an SAR handler, which is search and rescue, she first partnered with Puzzle, a certified golden retriever, and now works with Gambit. I love those names. They're both great. At home in Texas, she cares for a lively crew of rescue dogs, cats, and even a paralyzed pup on wheels. And her debut memoir, Scent of the Missing, recounts her search and rescue experiences and hit the New York Times bestseller list. She also followed it with The Possibility of Dogs in 2013 and Where the Lost Dogs Go in 2019. She's a prolific writer, as you can see. So without further ado, welcome, Susannah.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. That is, by the way, Puzzle over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Big dog over my shoulder is the late and wonderful Puzzle.
I love it. I love it. So let's just start off with, I would love to know, how did your background as a pilot and flight instructor influence your decision to volunteer in canine search and rescue?
Yes, I became a flight instructor in 1991. And very quickly after I started that work, I started flying with a couple of police officers who were working with a local jurisdiction. And I was actually their flight instructor. But a few times, this was a jurisdiction that didn't have their own helicopter, and this was before drones, of course, didn't have their ability to do overflights, particularly for photographers after any kind of incident where they needed photography. And so I started flying for this jurisdiction, and I ended up flying quite a bit over disaster areas. So farmland was often impacted by flooding. And so they would have me overfly to check for stranded livestock, stranded people, stranded, whatever. And I did a lot of that. And word kind of got around, and I ended up flying for other small jurisdictions. And then there was a point where I was asked to carry a photographer once the air clearance was allowed over the site of the Mira Federal Building bombing. And I remember, even at altitude, you can see a great deal. And I distinctly remember looking down and seeing a dog and handler coming out of the rubble.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, not every disaster needs an airplane, but they almost all need dogs. And that was the pivotal moment for me. And I came back and started researching, and there were some teams in the area, and I joined one local to me, and that's how that all began. And it began at a really critical time, interestingly. I finally found the team I wanted to work with right just months before 9/11.
Wow.
So, right, yes. So, we had no idea what was forthcoming. And then we had the fall of Shuttle Columbia just 2 years later, Katrina just 4 years later. And you know, if you've lived
One
in the
after the other.
country,
We live in interesting
natural
times.
disasters. Yes, we do. And the need for dogs was so immediately critical that I'm just glad to have had that chance to do it.
That's absolutely amazing. And looking in your background there, we've got the cover of the book, Scent of the Missing. Can you talk a little bit about the book and, what inspired you to share these stories?
I was a journalist as well. My day job, if you will, was teaching journalism and radio, television, film. So when I started working with Canine Search and Rescue, I realized that very few people had an idea of what that work is actually like. I mean, we see it was all very Hollywoodized and glitzy, and we see these iconic photos coming out of the Trade Center. But the interior experience was relatively uncovered. So I wanted people to get in the field with us and know when we're training a dog, what goes through our minds, what catches our hearts, because the training process is frightening. And you go into danger, the dog sallies forth into danger, and you love these animals, right? You love your partners and you want them safe, but they've got a job to do. And so I wanted that interior experience to be something that the audience was able to share. Yeah. So I'm so sorry about it. Mail carrier.
The mail carrier's here.
The mail carrier's here. I must have a lot of mail.
Yeah, this is one of the few shows where the barking dog is encouraged. We are all pet people here.
There you go.
Yeah. So, Susannah, I love how your books really give people a glimpse into your experience in the various capacities that you play. So, in the Possibility Dogs, that's the book where you highlight service dogs from shelters, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, and in fact, I'm doing a presentation in Dallas on that tomorrow. Some of these topics are so evergreen. I mean, that book came out in 2013, and yet I'm still speaking on this work, which said, I mean, I think that's a credit to the work itself, that our possibility with partnership is ongoing, and we're just really still scratching the surface. But yes, I was super interested in what capabilities were out there untapped in the rescue community, because I saw some amazing search and rescue dogs that were the dogs that had come out of shelters that had been surrendered because they were too much for their families. Somebody bought a puppy and it got big and they put it out in the backyard because it was not a little tiny cute puppy anymore. And then it was very big and it was very active, and the family went, more than I want. And so they surrendered it to a shelter. And sometimes those big driven dogs turn out to be ideal working partners. And they turn out often to be ideal search and rescue dogs. And in the same sense, there are dogs in shelters that demonstrate that the sort of the core, solid, loving, supporting, smart stability that makes for a good partner in service, emotional support, or community comfort, also called therapy dogs. And I was just interested in exploring how we identify those dogs and how we track them successfully into those potential careers. And for 12 years, I was the executive director of a nonprofit, and that is exactly what we did. We identified dogs in rescue, and we helped them find a place, either as service dogs to support disability, emotional support animals in the home, or those wonderful community comfort dogs that go out and make a difference, to a hurting public or an anxious public. And there are some sterling dogs out there. It takes care. It takes consideration. It takes thoughtfulness. It takes an excellent foster program to get those dogs accurately assessed and placed. But the turnaround for dog and human is amazing to see.
Yeah, I'm curious. We've had a lot of people come on the show and talk about the dog breeds and traits that are predisposed to being, therapy dogs or even seeing eye dogs. But I'm really curious about these search and rescue dogs. What's that pipeline like? Like, where do they come from? What type of dogs are sort of good at this kind of job? If there's any animal or dog fosters listening who may want to train their dogs for certain jobs, what type of traits should they be looking for?
The search and rescue dog is the dog who is willing and eager to partner with a human. And that's true of all the working dog things. First of all, they've got to want to work with a human. But they need really good, as well, executive function. They've got to be good decision makers. So, for instance, the rescue dog that you throw a ball, you got a big country yard, and you throw a ball and it goes down into a ravine and it's in the water and there's, ways to get to it. It's got to be a dog that figures out that way. The dog that you see is inventive, intuitive, problem solving, that kind of thing, but is willing also to be trainable and to respond to your cues, because sometimes your cues are what keeps them safe. You send a dog up on a rubble pile and you're at the base of it and you can see it wobble. You've got to have a cue to tell that dog to freeze, and that dog needs to freeze, for their own safety and for the safety of anybody in the role. So these are the really motivated high prey or high play dogs, but also the dogs that love partnering with you, who are eager to play with you, are eager to engage with you, are eager to learn new tasks. And they've just got a lot of energy, a lot of drive, and they've got to be human friendly.
Susannah, I was just going to say, you just described my dog to a T until you got to the part of human friendly, because she only likes me and my husband.
Right. Yeah, and that's the critical thing is because they're going to encounter, on mass casualty. We don't know how many people are out there, and they're going to encounter people who are in pain, who are terrified, and so they've got to be pretty human-centric as well.
Yeah.
Well, we are coming up on time, but before we let you go, I know you have a fiction book coming out this year. Tell us a little bit about that and where we can find more about your experience and the books that you write.
Well, I actually don't have a fiction book coming out. I've got no, that's okay. I've got a book dropping just on the 15th of July that is a partnership, actually a collaboration with a young woman who, with her husband, renovated a house that was slated for demolition, this awful circumstance, only to discover an amazing historical secret in the house itself. Cool. And so, so it was her lived experience and my hands at the keyboard and me deep in the archives, the historical archives. But that's what's coming out. And then I've got another sort of more animal-centric one slated for probably 2027. So, fantastic. Yeah, but anyway, my books are available anywhere. Amazon, you can, independents, they're out there. So they're easy to find.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Susannah, and for all the incredible work that you've done in so many different areas. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and thank you. Take care.
You know, after you said that Tulip checks all the boxes, in my head, I was just like seeing a big army guy in his fatigues and his general stars looking at, you know, a CCTV of a disaster and getting on the microphone and saying, deploy the tactical Tulip. A Tulip like jumping out of an airplane with her parachute.
Right.
Just flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
Tactical Tulip. Get her in there.
18-pound tactical tulip. I love it.
Oh, but Susannah's, that's awesome. What a career. What a really cool career.
Amazing.
Yeah, I feel like we have all these guests come on and they just make me regret so many of my life choices.
You still got time. You're young. You got time.
I could train search and rescue dogs and do all that cool and become a pilot too. Yeah, I still got time. All right, it's time for the product of the week.
Oh my gosh.
Getting a little zany.
That was extra.
Well, it's 3 a.m. in a warehouse, and they're making me talk about pet products, so they're going to get that kind of energy. I found a little thing as I doom scrolled watching the news flood in from all of the incredible world events that are taking place, and I was seeking refuge in my safe little echo chamber of social media. I found a little advertisement because all I get is kitchen and pet products on Instagram. That is the only thing targeted towards me. And I think Instagram thinks I'm interested in adopting a dog, which is funny because I'm really like, we're really not a dog household. We don't have property. It's just not, as much as I would love to have a dog, it's really not appropriate for us. But I digress because it's giving me all these puppy products. And I saw a really cool one, which is a pee pad that changes colors to monitor your dog's health. So you could grab this. It's from Genius Litter, actually, which makes a great cat litter. You should check that out too. But you throw down this pad, and let me see. Do they have? They do. So if it's red, high acidity in urine, dehydration, kidney issues, metabolic acidosis, UTIs, makes it more stable for bacteria. Like deep red is like, go bring them to the vet. And then there's like it doesn't change color, stays as like a yellow to light green. It's fine. And then high alkaline, might be a sign of alkalosis, which I've never heard of before. So much must be pretty rare. Infections, chronic kidney disease, increases the risk of stones and crystal formations, and may indicate bad metabolic disorders. So either way, no matter where you fall, either on the blue or the red, it's like, okay, we need to bring this animal to the vet. But this is going to catch these issues before the puppy displays any outward symptoms. And the one commonality about animals is they're going to hide their illnesses from you. They're going to disguise their symptoms until it becomes too much to bear. A product like this can help you diagnose early on before, when you have these levels in the urine. It's often before the actual problem is taking place, and you could take corrective action or give medication before things get too bad. So check it out. I think it's like $25 for a pack of these bad boys. So
cool.
While your puppy is still using the pee pad, check it out.
And I assume it sounds like they're made for puppies, but I assume you could use it for any dog that maybe, I know a lot of people that have small dogs use pee pads in the home.
Yeah,
so I guess it could be for any dog. Okay.
Yeah.
Very smart. Diagnostic pee pads. Okay. So kind of along the same lines, my product is an AI health and behavior tracker for your dog. I guess it could be for your cat too. It's called the Fi, and this is the Fi Series 3 Smart Dog Collar. Now, there are a lot of smart dog collars, and this has been a trend for probably the past 10 years, but they just keep getting smarter and smarter. And now with AI, they can really, really deliver a lot of information, just like those pee pads we talked about, that can help you catch potential problems early on. So here's what this, it's got a real-time monitoring device, and it watches for things like barking, licking, scratching, eating, drinking, activity, and sleep. So I guess you kind of get to know your dog's baseline for any of those activities. And if one seems to increase or decrease, like excessive licking of the paws or something like that, you might be alerted to a potential allergy or an infection or something like that. And then obviously it's got GPS tracking in it, which is what, that's the first reason I would get a 5-collar for my dog Tulip, is because if she runs away, like she loves to run after groundhogs out here. So if she takes off after a groundhog and gets lost, I want to be able to find her. So it's got the GPS, the behavior tracking, and what's cool now is they've integrated with the Apple Watch, so you can just get alerts right on your phone.
Wow.
About that kind of stuff. It's also waterproof and it has an LED night light. So as far as price goes, it looks like this thing's about $99, and then you have a monthly $14. What do you call that fee? It's like a subscription base. Yeah, it's a subscription base that powers the GPS and all the features for $14 a month. However, if you watch the adoption show on DOGTV, you may have noticed that if you adopt a dog from the adoption show, you're going to get a free 5-collar. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's
so if
awesome.
you haven't checked that show out, definitely
Man,
do so.
I remember when the term smart dog collar just implied that it was very stylish. And
Had a bow tie on it.
Yeah, he has like a little bow tie. Dogs walking around looking all smart. Like that's a lot of features. That's awesome. And yeah, if you could get your hands on one of those through the adoption show, that is a major award right there.
Q&As.
All right, Kristen Levine, it is time for our favorite segment of the show. That's right, we're going to answer 2 questions from our stupendous audience, our incredibly talented and attention-giving audience, those who really key into our programming. And I know what you're thinking, folks. You want your questions answered. And I have a solution for you. You're going to head on over to petsadlife.org. I hope I did that right. If you're not watching us on video, you're missing my incredible physical comedy. Head on over to petsadlife.org/podcast. Fill out the form. Fill it out. Ask your question, and we're going to answer it. But if you are feeling as brave as a bodega cat stopping an armed robbery, then you can. Yeah, it's happened before, folks. Just watch any movie about New York. It's always happening in the background. You can record a question, and you'll hear it played live on the show. We got one last episode. If you didn't check that out, that was pretty cool. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get into today's questions, both of which were written into Chris and Kristen. Kristen, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. I'm going to read this question to you from Emma in Dallas, Texas. Emma says, my cat keeps, this is not a bodega cat, by the way. My cat keeps getting earwax buildup and scratching a lot. When should I schedule a vet visit, and can I clean her ears at home safely?
Yeah. I mean, I think a cat scratching at its ears is already like worth a vet visit. If there's no obvious like external rash where you're like, oh, skin issue, and I could get some ointment, but like typically you're looking at a few different possibilities. If there's a lot of either dark brown, black, or just like gross colored earwax.
Ew.
Infection would be like number one. I mean, people get it all the time. That's like the sign of the ear infection is just sort of some gross leakage. Cats can get like ear mites, which are tiny little parasites that could cause irritation. It could also be an allergy. But if you are seeing like especially the head shake, like when the cat's like flicking its ear and then shaking its head like crazy, like that is, take him to the vet. That's abnormal behavior. Your second question, can I clean my cat's ears at home? Absolutely. But you're not going to take a Q-tip and shove it down your cat's ears. You're not going to do that. Okay. Listen to me. You're going to go get a cotton pad or cotton ball, and you are going to get some either warm water or any type of cleaning solution product that's safe for the cat ears, which is typically going to be water with like the most trace amounts of either soap or alcohol. But some warm water is going to go a long way here. And you're going to gently damp that cotton ball. And you're just going to gently rub the inside of the ears. You're not going to go in. You're not going inside that ear. Cats' ears are incredibly sensitive, more so than people. We're not supposed to go inside our own ears. And I know we're doing that all the time. We shouldn't be. But cats' ears are even more sensitive. So you could clean the inside of the ear where you could easily reach your finger. We're not going to go down into the ear canal. And if there are issues in the ear canal, that is a vet visit. So who was asking this question? What was the
Emma? I think it was
Emma. So Emma, schedule that visit ASAP to get their next available appointment.
Hey, you know what, Emma? I'm going to give Emma a bonus product of the week, and the reason being is it goes right along with her question. And I just saw this in my inbox yesterday. Vetericen has come out with a brand new ear rinse for dogs and cats.
There you go.
So check that out. I know veterinarians love that brand, so it's a good one to try.
Product of the question.
So what do you have for me?
Here we got Jake from Orlando. I wonder if he works for State Farm. Jake asks, my dog pulls so hard on walks, I feel like I'm being dragged. Hit the gym, Jake. What's the best tool and training tip to fix leash pulling?
So Jake, I hope you don't have like a 20-pound Bichon or something like that. No, this is probably one of the most common problems that trainers get asked about. I am not a dog trainer, nor do I pretend to be one here on this podcast. But I do know that it's a very common problem and that it is something that can definitely be overcome. Typically, you have to have the right tools and the right kind of training method. So first of all, let's talk about the tools you don't want to use. You do not want to use one of those prong collars or a choke chain or any kind of collar that could cause your pet pain when they're pulling. There are a lot of really great harnesses and really harnesses are better when you have a puller than an actual collar. There's one called the oh my gosh, this might be another bonus product of the week. No Pull Freedom Harness, I think it's called. And then there's another one that I think Pet Safe makes. Gentle Leader, that's what it's called, the Gentle Leader. These are harnesses that use different pressure points on the body that deter your pet from pulling when you're walking them. So definitely look into those two tools. And then the other, I remember this tip from my trainer when I had Chili, because Chili was a puller too when we first got him. And they always tell you to, first of all, make sure you have some high value treats in your pocket when you go on a walk. High value meaning it's not the treats that you feed every day. It's something really, really, really special. And usually the stinkier the better. This will help you keep your dog's attention. When your dog starts to pull, you're supposed to stop walking. And then as soon as your dog stops pulling, then you start walking again. Or you can continually treat them with these high value treats as long as they're not pulling. But as soon as they pull, you stop. So that is my advice based on my experience. But Jake, if you're still having trouble, maybe you have a gigantic Mastiff that is super, super strong, then you might want to inquire with a dog trainer.
Well, Kristen, that is the end of our show for this week. How sad.
So sad. So long, Chris.
We're going to be back in a week. And if you aren't watching us, check us out on the DOGTV Fast channel, DOGTV Unleashed. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok and wherever social media clips are sold.
Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV.